Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to focus on chapter 12 of Button Up Buddy and our vocabulary words 9 to 16. I have another video or lesson that has words 1 to 8. So this video focuses on words 9 to 16. Before this lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or journal page. You're going to divide the paper into 3 equal parts or thirds. And then you're going to write your numbers 9 to 16. So if you don't have your materials, push pause, get your materials, and when you're ready to join me, push play. So after you write each vocabulary word or phrase, you're going to write a synonym or short definition in the second column. And a synonym is a word that means the same or similar, just like combine is a synonym for mix. If you don't catch the synonym or short definition, you can always write the word a second time. And then in the third column, draw a quick picture or sketch to help you remember the word. So here's our learning target. I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand descriptive language like metaphors and personification from chapter 12 of Bud Not Buddy. Success criteria, that means how will you know you're successful at using pictures and context clues to understand descriptive language in the chapter? Well, here are our steps to success. I will, number 1, write down each vocabulary word. Number 2, write a synonym or short definition for each word. Number 3, listen and follow along to each quote from the chapter. Look for the vocabulary word. And number 4, go back and draw a quick sketch for each word. So here's our first 2 pictures that stand for a word. And my question to you is, what do you notice or see in one or both of the pictures? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice a dog and a cat are agreeing on something. They're shaking hands. And dogs and cats don't normally get along. And in the second picture, I notice 2 people are talking. Maybe they're trying to solve a problem. So how are these pictures the same or similar? They both? Well, they both show number 9, negotiating. Negotiating. Negotiating means communicating back and forth to reach an agreement, bargaining, or making a deal. So a synonym could be bargaining, negotiating, communicating back and forth to reach an agreement, bargaining, or making a deal. Here's our quote. I'm picking these up so we can pass them out in Grand Rapids. We've been negotiating to get a union for the Pullman porters for years now. And nowhere in Grand Rapids will print these flyers out for us. Lefty Lewis. All right, number 10, sit down strike. Here's a picture of men at a car manufacturer, and they're doing a sit down strike. It's where workers sit down on the job and do not work, preventing other workers from doing the job or the company to continue production. So they sat down and refused to work, and this also made it so that other people couldn't replace them. It's called a sit down strike. A traditional strike is where workers make signs and picket outside their workplace. Picketing means they walk around outside with signs trying to discourage anyone from entering the business, including customers and to replacement workers. So that trouble the policeman was talking about at the factory is called a sit-down strike. All right. And one type of figurative language is idiom. An idiom is a saying that has a completely different meaning than the actual words themselves. It's raining cats and dogs, so take your umbrella. Personification, another type of figurative language. It has the word person in it because a person is a human. And personification is giving human qualities to a thing or idea. So the sun, sorry, I don't know why it's out of order. The sun was peeking through the clouds. The sun was acting like a person or a human. Personification. Number 11, out cold. Unconscious or in a deep sleep where you cannot feel or hear anything going on around you. Out cold. So Bud was out cold. It's an idiom. And here's our quote. Boy, these automobiles were great for making you conk out between the car floating real soft down the road and Lefty Lewis's boring stories about the railroad and the Union and baseball. I was out cold in no time. So Lefty's car was floating softly down the river like a human could be floating softly down the river. So that is personification. All right, simile. A simile is a comparison of two things using the words like or as. His face lit up like a light bulb when he figured out the math problem. Simile uses the words like or as. So listen closely. Lefty Lewis pulled up next to a car that was as long as a big boat. He said, "Ah, there's the Packard. He's here." So Lefty Lewis, not Lefty Lewis. That's what Lefty Lewis said. Herman E. Calloway had a Packard or a car as long as a big boat. And this is a simile. Number 12, Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan is a secret racist group made up of white men. The KKK was a secret racist organization comprised of white male members. They hid their true identities by wearing scary costumes while committing crimes and creating fear. They hated people of other races, religions, and cultures. So, right, Ku Klux Klan, a secret racist group made up of white men. Number 13, John Brown. John Brown was a white abolitionist. It means he wanted to abolish or get rid of slavery. So, white abolitionist who hated slavery. So, John Brown, he was born in 1800 and he died in 1859, was a white abolitionist. He wanted to abolish, get rid of slavery because it was morally wrong. He believed the only way to get rid of slavery was through fighting. He was hanged after he led a raid on a federal armory. All right, so the Ku Klux Klan hated people like John Brown because John Brown did not believe in slavery. In fact, he hated it. All right, number 14, my 2 cents is the saying, my 2 cents, and that means to give your opinion. My 2 cents means to give your opinion that is sometimes not wanted by the other person. Sometimes people don't want to hear your 2 cents or your opinion. So if you notice, these people are, they kind of have annoyed looks on their faces while the other person is giving their opinion. It's an idiom, my 2 cents. Now I know he's going to tell you, this, but I got to add my 2 cents. Son, there just aren't too many places a young Negro boy should be traveling by himself, especially not clear across Michigan. There are folks in the state that make your average Ku Kluxer look like John Brown, Lefty Lewis. So he's comparing a Ku Klux Klan member to John Brown. So that's a simile. And it's also a hyperbole, it's an exaggeration because the KKK was exactly opposite of who John Brown was. Exaggerating, 15, exaggerating, to overstate or a hyperbole. Say something that is more than it is, exaggerating. To overstate or a hyperbole, say that something is more than it is. So there's some people who are exaggerating. The man is exaggerating about the fish that he caught. And then another person is exaggerating the amount of money they have. So here's our quote. He was talking just like me, and it didn't take much listening to tell he was lying, or at least doing some real good exaggerating, just like I do. That was all the proof I needed. So this is Bud talking about Herman E. Calloway. So Bud said, he was talking just like me, Herman E. Calloway. And it didn't take much listening to tell he was lying, or at least doing some real good exaggerating, just like I do. That was all the proof I needed. Bud Caldwell was like Herman E. Calloway. He's comparing himself to Herman E. Calloway. He's like, I'm just like him. Okay, number 16, golden gloves. Golden gloves. The proper noun has capital G, a boxing award, and the name of a boxing competition. A boxing award and the name of a boxing competition. The golden gloves. His voice was a lot rougher and more tired sounding than I thought it would be. He leaned back in his chair. That's right. After I'd won the Golden Gloves, no one couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be a middleweight champ within 2, 3 years tops. So Herman E. Calloway had a rough voice, grrr, and a tired voice. And he also said that he won a boxing award or a competition called the Golden Gloves. All right, time to check your work. Chapter 12, words 9 to 16. Number 9, negotiating, communicating back and forth to reach an agreement, bargaining, or making a deal. So the synonym could be bargaining. Number 10, sit down strike, where workers sit down and do not work, a sit down strike. Number 11, out cold, an idiom, unconscious or in a deep sleep where you cannot feel or hear anything going on around you. Number 12, Ku Klux Klan, a secret racist group made up of white men. Oh, I'm going to go back. If you need to, push pause, write all your words, make sure they're all written down, 9 to 12, and then make sure you have your synonym for each or short definition and a quick picture or sketch. When you're finished doing that for words 9 to 12, after you push pause, push play. All right, number 13, John Brown, a white abolitionist who hated slavery. In fact, he wanted to abolish it, get rid of it. Number 14, my 2 cents. An idiom to give your opinion that is sometimes not wanted by the other person. My 2 cents. Number 15, exaggerating. To overstate or say that something is more than it is, a hyperbole. And finally, 16, Golden Gloves, a boxing award and the name of a boxing competition. All right, make sure to push pause if you need to, and make sure you have words 13 through 16 with the synonym or short definition and a quick sketch. And when you're done doing that, push play. All right, time to reflect on our learning target. I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from chapter 12 of Bud Not Buddy. 4, I could teach this lesson. I wrote all the words, all the synonyms, all the sketches. 3, I could help others with this lesson. I wrote all the words, I wrote all the synonyms and definitions, and I drew all the sketches. 2, I understood and completed some. I wrote some of the words, I wrote some synonyms and definitions, I drew some sketches and pictures. Or 1, I understood and completed little. I wrote little to no words, I wrote little to no synonyms or definitions, and I wrote little to no sketches or pictures. So how do you think you did? 4, 3, 2, or 1? All right, everyone, thank you for joining me for the second part of chapter 12 of Bud Not Buddy. Have a great day.